We've completed your third week of studies in New Testament Exposition 1. This lesson, entitled The Gospel According to Mark, focused exclusively on this action-packed gospel. It was discovered that the ancient tradition indicates that Mark wrote the gospel and that he was an associate of Peter. At least he was his interpreter. Some scholars posit a late date for Mark because of the contemporary approach to the Gospels, that they resulted from a long and complex history tradition. Also, they try to date it late, at least after 70 AD, and the destruction of the temple, because they take the abomination that causes desolation in Mark 13:14 to be an allusion to Titus's destruction of the Jerusalem temple. Since they will often reject the idea of predictive prophecy, this would be a case of contemporizing past events, that is, putting prophecy on the lips of Jesus after the fact. It was discovered the major Christological title in Mark's Gospel is Jesus as the Son of God. Mark preserves fewer teachings than the other Gospels, but he does present one extensive sermon that deals with eschatology. That's in chapter 13. It is thus likely that Mark's narrative flow sees the entire Gospel pointing towards and foreshadowing the structure of this major sermon. We discern four interrelated purposes of Mark's Gospel, all of which revolve around Jesus' identity as the Son of God: a pastoral purpose to teach Christians about the nature of discipleship, a missionary training purpose to explain how Jesus prepared his followers to take his mission and to show others how to do so as well, an apologetic purpose to demonstrate to non-Christians that Jesus is the Son of God because of his great power in spite of his crucifixion, and finally an anti-imperial purpose to show that Jesus and not Caesar is the true Son of God, Savior, and Lord. The next major issue was the text critical issues, which were uncovered first in Mark 1:1, concerning the phrase in question, the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Some important manuscripts lack the last two words. However, the evidence is slim, and an appeal to homotelia teuton and a reference to Mark 15:39 suggests that it's likely that the reference should be included. The second text critical issue in Mark relates to the ending. It's likely that the shorter ending was the original because 1. The longer endings contain non-Markan vocabulary, and 2. The references to drinking poison and snake handling are more at home in the 2nd and 3rd century apocryphal material concerning Jesus and the apostles. With regard to literary considerations, it was discovered that Mark is an action-rich gospel whose style was characterized by compactness, concreteness, vividness, and orderliness. The consistent use of immediately reinforces this idea. The major turning point in Mark's gospel is Peter's confession of Jesus on the way into Caesarea Philippi in Mark chapter 8, verse 27 through 30. The presence of the messianic secret has been a focus of much scholarly attention, and a good explanation of this motif is that although Jesus was aware of his messianic status, he was wary of accepting the title from the Judeans because the political expectations of the Messiah offered little ideological space for a suffering one. See Mark chapter 10, verse 45. Finally, we uncover Mark's unique contributions to the canon: the presentation of the gospel of Jesus narrating his ministry from Galilee to Jerusalem, Jesus as the miracle-working Son of God, Jesus displaying his power over nature, demons, sickness, and death, the disciples' failure, and Jesus' sacrificial and vicarious death as a ransom for many.